What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to talk about lead generation and how should you spend your time and your money with this new lead generation matrix. Do you want the red pill or the blue pill? Are you going to like, comment, subscribe, or are you going to buy a shirt? Okay, all right, guys, let's talk about it. So today we're talking about the lead generation matrix. And what is the lead generation matrix, right? Have you guys ever heard of the Eisenhower Matrix? But it's something about like there's urgency and then there's importance and where should you spend your time and what things do you delegate, what do you delete, what do you work on? So what do you plan for? So this is kind of similar in the way that we process the theory, but this is a very helpful way when you're thinking about, okay, I have money, I have time, or I have a lack of time or money, and how should I allocate my resources in the best way possible to earn the highest return on my investment. And this is going to be the way that we kind of walk through that, because there's so many different ways you can advertise. You can advertise in the paper, you can advertise online, you can advertise, work with social workers and discharge planners, but how should you be allocating your time? And if you can understand this, then you'll understand where you should put all your resources. So that being said, we have the demand side of the curve, or the demand side of the matrix, which is up here, and we have high need. So like there's a family caregiver taking care of their mom, dad, spouse, or a loved one, and there's a high need for those services, like they need services today, or there's a low need. Like this is more of an awareness campaign. Like we don't need the services today, but we might someday in the future. And so we might not be paying attention to the ads, but we might be in the realm of, there might be a time where that particular service, such as adult daycare, might actually be needed. But the demand for it is not right today. It's maybe sometime in the future, 5, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. So, and then we have the cost side of it, right? So how much does it cost for these leads? Is it a high cost lead or is it a low cost lead? So let's dive into these different categories, okay? On this side of the column and matrix, whatever, we have high need, high cost. All right, so what would that be? That's me, Google, Bing, placement agencies. You know why? Because on Google, if I'm searching for adult daycare, there's more than likely there's a higher need for that. I need the services now. I'm in need of the services in the near future, in the next, in the next week. Adult daycare center near me. Adult daycare. How do I find, adult daycare services? Where do I find adult daycare services? In Port Charlotte. Where do I find adult daycare services? In Miami or wherever, right? So there's a high need because I'm searching for it because I might be taking care of my mom, my dad, and they might have just stressed me out and I had enough and I'm going online, I'm gonna find that service, okay? And I'm gonna go see the ones near me and I'm gonna look at the different reviews and who ranks on what list and who has the most reviews. And so there's high need. So Google and Bing, when you're advertising on those platforms, because of that high need, there's also a high cost to it, right? And the same with placement agencies. Typically, placement agencies, they've already vetted that person, and by the time the placement agency is coming to you, there's probably a high need. Like they're in need of services within the next few weeks, not the next few months or the next few years, right? So usually this is gonna be the case where there's a high cost, high need. Google, Bing, placement agencies, people are searching, they need it now, they need it today, okay? Now you have high need, low cost. High need, low cost. What is high need, low cost? That is gonna be your social workers, your discharge planners, right? Because your social workers and your discharge planners, they're not charging you a fee, okay? They're sending you a lead for free, and usually that lead, if they're a social worker or discharge planner, is in need of your services, and that's why they're giving that lead, to you, right? So they're, hey, I have Mrs. Smith, she needs help with this, can you help her out? Here's her information. Or maybe on the other side of it, the social worker is passing off to the family. Either way, there's maybe a higher need because they're working directly with a family that is in need of services. And if you're getting that call from the social worker or from that family member, it's because the need is high and they need those services in the next few weeks, right? But there's a low cost to it. You don't have to spend any money to get that lead, or you didn't spend a lot of money. It was a low cost, right? Then on the demand side, you have over here, you have a low need with a high cost. And that would be like newspaper, TV commercials, Facebook paid ads. The reason why it's a high cost is because it is not cheap to advertise on TV, okay? It's not cheap to advertise in the newspaper. And Facebook ads, they may not be cheap either, but the reality is that there's a low need because when you're advertising in the newspaper or advertising on a TV commercial, There's a low, not everyone's watching your commercial and needs your services. It's such a broad blanket of coverage that like there's only maybe maybe 1 out of 100 people that are seeing that ad that really maybe need your services. And maybe that's even generous. It might be less than that. Maybe it's 1 out of 1,000, right? And so you might have this really low need to your targeted audience because they're not in search of your services. You're just broadcasting it out and blasting it out to everyone, right? So that might have a high cost, but it has a low need. Okay, therefore the lead is not immediate. Then you have over here, you have a low need, low cost. This is just word of mouth, social media, email blast. There's low cost to it. Like it doesn't really cost you anything to blast out emails through like a MailChimp or a constant contact campaign. I mean, word of mouth, that doesn't really cost you that much, but the problem is the need might be low. It might take a long time to build that need up, or to build the number of people out there that are talking about your brand, are talking to enough people that's actually generating new leads for you, right? And same with social media. You might be posting on Facebook and raising, this is really awareness. Like this is just, you're raising awareness, people that have utilized your services in the past, and maybe you took care of someone's mom or dad or spouse years ago, and they thought highly of you and they speak highly of you. Well, they're not gonna go out there tomorrow and produce a bunch of new leads for you. But they might produce leads over time. But again, there's not gonna be, those leads may not be immediate. There's not a high need. It doesn't have an immediate leads coming in, right? But there's also a very low cost to it. There's not a lot of cost to you, okay? So how do you spend your time? How do you spend your money? The reality of it is if you have money, if you got money and you got no time, where are you gonna spend your time? What quadrant are you gonna spend your money in? Because you have no time. You're gonna spend that in this high need, high cost category, right? On the search results. This should be option 1. You got money and you got money to burn, put it in here. Google, Bing, placement agencies. This is going to generate leads fast, but it's also gonna cost you money, okay? But if you need leads fast and you got money, that's where you should be, right? Now, option number 2. You ain't got no money because maybe you're just on a budget, okay? And Dave Ramsey said, Daddy Dave said, be conservative, don't overspend, don't go into debt. And so you're listening to, Grandpa Dave, and you want to be a little more conservative, okay? So that being said, now you don't have money, you have time though. You might have time on your side. So sometimes if you don't have money, you have to make up for that resource and use time instead of money, right? So here would be where you spend your time. You develop relationships, like legit relationships, not relationships that depend on, not relationships that depend on goodies and knickknacks and this and that, but like legit relationships. You go and you meet with the social workers, you meet with the discharge planners, you get to know their families, you get to know their likes, their dislikes, you become a friend, you befriend them, okay? You become friends with them. And this is where you spend your time if you have no money, but you have time, right? Now, the cool part is there's another little alternative here, okay? And when we come back up to this side of the quadrant and we're looking at the high cost, low need, what you can do to make this area right here a viable option for you is what you could do is you could basically, I'm trying to find my different color here. So what you do is you find someone on Google or Bing or someone that is in need of the placement agency services. This is gonna probably like primarily cater to someone that you find on say Google or Bing, right? Because they searched for you, they went on your website, and now you get to cyber stalk them. Do you know what cyber stalking is? It's called retargeting. So you get to find person A and you get to follow them over here. And you can follow them maybe in the newspaper, on a TV commercial, maybe you can follow them on Facebook, maybe you can follow them on different apps on their phone through these geo-retargeting campaigns. So now what's kind of cool about that is you spent, maybe 80% of your advertising money here, which is just generating the highest need. Basically, you're generating the traffic, the lead that is in the greatest need. Okay, so you spend the money to find person A, and now you stalk them in the grocery store. You stalk them in the newspaper. You stalk them on the TV commercials. You stalk them on Facebook. They just keep seeing your ads everywhere. You're like, what the heck? They won't leave me alone. Well, that's because they retargeted you. So instead of paying for eyeballs over here and spending a lot of your money over here, okay, and just broadcasting like shotgun style, like, you know, pellets everywhere, okay? Instead of doing that, you spend all your money here, where you can find highly targeted individuals in need of your services, and you retarget them, you stalk them over here. And this will create a more effective campaign, okay? So again, that's if you have dollars. But if you don't got dollars, you got time. And if you got time, you can build relationships. And if you can build relationships, you will create a economical and effective way to generate new leads that are in need of your services immediately. But the problem is it's going to take time to develop those relationships first, and for those social workers and those discharge planners to get to know who you are and the types of services you provide and how you can help the families that they're meeting with on a regular basis. But you got to spend the time to develop those relationships. And then over here, this is just a byproduct. This is just a byproduct of just doing what you're doing. You know, you can't speed this up. You know, but the beauty about it is the more people you serve, the more people you help, the greater this grows. And at a low cost, very low cost, it's gonna generate leads for you, but it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take time. You know, this is not an area that you can spend and focus your effort on in the very beginning, because you gotta build this from scratch. And social media is not gonna generate leads. Don't think you're gonna post on Facebook and Instagram and over here and over there, and all of a sudden tomorrow someone's gonna show up, you know? Social media is an awareness tool, okay? So it allows you, it's like word of mouth. You just post regularly, so you're just on the top of people's minds and hearts and things like that. When they see your stuff coming around, they just think of you as still there. They think of you as still existing in this you know, world of services that are being offered. You're still one of those services that exists. You know, so social media is just more of an awareness play, but not necessarily a play that has an immediate need. Same with the email blasts. You're just sending them out. Only 10% of the people open them anyways. Just because you send them out to people doesn't mean they're going to even look at them. They might be unsubscribing. You might have sent them 10 and they never opened one. You know, but then one day, all of a sudden your services are maybe something they need, and then they open it, right? So again, low cost, low need. There's not a lot of traffic you're going to be able to drive through this quadrant. But this is where you can drive the most traffic. This will be your second best choice. But if you got the money and you are short on time, go here. If you're out of money and you're short on, you know, you're short on money and you got some time, go here. And this is gonna be the best way to think through how you should spend your time and your money to generate new leads for your adult daycare center. And if you'd like to learn more, go to adcpro.com. And thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out. Boo. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here. And make sure you subscribe to our channel. Click here. We'll see you guys next time.